Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. This is an interesting episode, and I want to particularly talk about, for starters, the Ava scene. Okay? The reason why I generally like this scene, I actually generally love this scene in a lot of ways, is that it really shows you just how smart, in a sense, and how smart Ava is. Particularly when she talks to, I guess, Agent Boyle after John is like, he leaves. And he doesn't want her contacting Avery. He doesn't want her using her phone or anything like that. She's like, when are you coming back? And this, that, and the third. And so he just leaves, right? Now, this woman has just felt off to me since the first time that she was introduced. Thinking about her aura, it wasn't even so much the fact that she barely talked, she barely said anything, but it was something that was just off about her in general. When they started talking, the first thing that she noticed was her shoes, particularly how expensive that they were. She also talked about the gun that the agent carried. Shows her knowledge of FBI agents and law enforcement and what kind of weapons that they normally carry or they're normally allowed to carry. Now, she tries to make up some BS talking about, well, female officers, me female agents, we have our pick of what kind of weapons that we can sit there and use. Ava's like, yeah, okay, sure. So she wants to go down there to go get some coffee, but the woman's like, no, I'll go get it for you. She knew that, so that's why she asked. So she goes downstairs to the lobby to go get some coffee, whatever. And a particular one, not just any type of regular Joe or anything like that. Like, some mochiata stuff or whatever that's, it's going to take her some time to go and get. So while she's doing that, she's looking inside of the woman's purse. She noticed some sunglasses that also cost a lot of money, a burner phone, and some money. Then she realized that she really up. Okay? Because Sonny sat there and warned her and was like, hey, listen, when John is done, he's not going to need you. He's going to frame me for your murder. This is how obsessed that John is. What annoyed me a little bit was that even Ava felt like there was something off with John. She was uncomfortable. And she's like, okay, so now you have me lie to, you have me commit a false statement or whatever. Like, are you serious? So she was uncomfortable from jump. But for some odd reason, she decided to go with the guy who she didn't feel comfortable with, as opposed to, at least with Sonny, you can sit there and bargain for your life because they both share a daughter. But for some odd reason, this is the choice that she decided to make. And I think it's really stupid because it's like, she's very intelligent in that part, yet she made the choice to sit there and be with him. Anyway, she realized all that money was there and was like, yep, she's gonna sit there and kill me. So as she's leaving, as she opens the door, the agent, shows back up. Now, Laura comes to Mr. Brennan and it's like, I need help finding Lucky, explains the situation. And, Jack, my bad. Jack is pretty much like, well, the thing is that we don't really have good relations with that part of the world, and it's going to be kind of difficult. But I will sit there and see what I can do. Right? That's the key word. She was like, I'll see what I can do. Laura wasn't satisfied with that answer and basically was like, listen, my family has helped the WSB out or whatever, and long story short, you owe me. Now, to be fair, this guy does not know you from a hole in the wall. Okay? And I feel like if Jack actually had less patience, He could have easily been like, nah. Like I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that attitude. I already told her that I could sit there and try to see what I can do, even though I just explained the reason why we can't just go in guns blazing, or even sit there and try to attempt something like that. And you're gonna give me an attitude? Yeah, I got other things to do. Long story short, he does sit there and give her a location. Um, I think if it was a lesser person, they could have just been like, nah, I'm good. Now, when Anna is talking to Tracy, finds out about the situation, she goes to Portia to see what kind of criteria does that person need to be a donor. And after doing that, goes to Jack and it's like, I need you to sit there and find Valentine because I need Charlotte to, Charlotte is needed to, help Lulu with the kidney donation. And I'm just like, do you think that's something that Lulu would want? I mean, there are risks, and Portia did sit there and say that we preferably need an adult. Now, I get the idea. Odds of Lulu making it is a lot better than just trying to rely on Lucky. But again, I don't think that's something that Lulu would have wanted. And Mr. Brennan pointed out, hey, listen, aren't you kind of kicking yourself for, letting Valentine go in the first place? Just want to kind of throw that out there. So then it's like, listen, if you don't sit there and help out, you don't sit there and start covering your ass, you're gonna be the one that's responsible if Lulu dies. I'm like, well, to be fair, you're gonna share some of that responsibility because you are the one that did warn Valentine about the FBI, which wound up taking Charlotte in the first place. So let's not put all that on him. Um, so Tracy comes over to Laura and offers any sort of resources, any sort of money, jets, whatever, to sit there and help out with this search. And after Brennan was able to kind of find some sort of location, Laura's like, oh, I'll go over there. Tracy was like, this is a bad idea. How about we pay some mercenaries or whatever to go down there? It's a dangerous part of the world. Let them go down there. Let them do what they do best. Right? But Laura's like, well, something about blood is thicker than water or whatever. And, I just don't feel comfortable. I'm like, Laura, you would help me understand why do you think that you would actually have a better chance as far as going to a very dangerous part of the world to find Lucky as opposed to people who literally is their job to handle those type of situations? God was like, oh, I'm going too. And Tracy was like, oh, okay, so the mayor and a psychologist is going down to the most dangerous part of the world to find your son. Yeah, no, this ought to go smooth. And I felt the exact same way. And I kind of, even before I did this review, I was like, how about you sit there and try to get Jason? I mean, I know the last time that Jason tried to help out in the rescue mission, it kind of went sideways, but why not try to get Jason? So to go well. So Isaiah, I gotta remember this guy's name. Isaiah and Lucky um, are trying to figure out how to get out, and Lucky has a plan, but well, yeah, Lucky has a plan as far as getting some sort of medical supplies or whatever, because the doctor was like, oh, well, he was like, I need some equipment, whatever, to sit there and test this, I guess, head honcho or whatever, um, to kind of like look into this guy, whatever. So I guess his second in command comes and gets the doctor. We're like, okay, you're going to come, you're going to help pick out the equipment. Lucky's ready to go, but he's like, no, 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 you can stay here. And the doctor's like, we need Lucky for protection. Because if anything goes wrong, Are you going to sit there and tell your boss that we couldn't get the equipment that we needed because you decided to sideline one of our security guys? So the guy leaves, and lucky at this point, it's like most likely he's not going to let me leave. I need you to go. When you get a chance, he gives him the gun. It's like, when you get a chance, take your exit and get help. The guy doesn't want to leave him, but I feel like at this point, he's not going to have a choice. I'm very curious on how this whole thing is going to wind up going. Okay, Sonny and Alexis are talking about Christina, the whole blowout with Molly and everything. And, Chrissy comes downstairs. She's talking about just the nightmares that she's having. And see, this is another one of those things where it's like, I'm very split on it, right? Because she talks about how she's having these dreams, and she doesn't want to have these dreams of her daughter being with her in these dreams, and when she wakes up, um, she's not there. And it's something that she said. Hold on one second. Okay, yeah. So she's talking about the whole, her and Molly Smith. They're practically being like, you still, stealing, her baby. And Christy was like, well, technically, I'm not stealing something that was never hers in the first place. And it's one of those things where it's like, yes, in these adoption situations, these surrogate situations, they do have, I think, maybe 24 hours or 48 hours to change their minds, which is why it's always a risk. Whenever you're sitting there dealing with a surrogate situation, that at the last minute, and I remember this episode of A Million Little Things. I can't remember the characters, but they found somebody that was going to give them the baby, but at the last few minutes, they wound up changing their minds, and I can't remember the character's name, but she wound up being really hurt by that. And that's the same thing with Christina. She does have the right to sit there and change her mind. As selfish as some people could sit there and say that is, Christina's not entirely wrong. She's not entirely wrong for sitting there saying, Molly Smith to talk about stealing her baby when it was never hers to begin with. The problem is, it comes across as, we'll just sit there and say off because from jump, you wanted to sit there and be their surrogate. And you kept pleading and fighting to sit there and do that. And you kept, throughout the entire time, kept her under the belief that that child after 9 months is going to be hers. So there's something that just feels off about you saying that. Anyway, John comes over there. He's all like, oh, well, I got some more questions to sit there and ask Christina. And Alexis is like, no. How did you know? What did I tell you before the last time I sat there and kicked your ass out? You can't do this without making an appointment, and I'm going to be there. There's one point where Christina was like, well, maybe I should answer his questions. Christina, maybe you should sit there and just stop talking. Okay, maybe you should sit there and do that. How about that? But Sonny's there, and Sonny's like, no, that's not going to happen. You want to come at me, come at me. So John is like, okay, cool. You got 20 minutes to meet me at so-and-so, otherwise I'm going to come back with Christina. It's an empty threat because you don't have anything to actually come at her with to try to get her. And you know damn well, even if you somehow do, Alexis is going to be right there. But he goes there, he meets up with him, and long story short, John is like, okay, here's the option. Either I'm going to sit there and find a way to get your daughter arrested for 20 years, or are you going to confess to every single crime that you've ever committed? 20 years is a long time. And while Sonny Smith is saying, well, Alexis could sit there and beat the charges, and Nate could sit there and recant, John does sit there and make it clear. He's like, well, I don't know about her recanting any stories. Meaning that he's going to her. How else was going to sit there and say? Oh, also, just the he does sit there and say, and not just you committing to every crime that you've ever committed, but I want you to sit there and commit. I want you to sit there and confess to what you did to Karen. You remember the whole underage thing where you put that chick on a pole and gave her candy? Yeah, no, you're gonna sit there and confess to that too. You remember that underage girl that you did, right? Um, so it's Sonny just sit there just looking at him, and while that's going on, Christina calls Jason. Why does she call Jason? I don't really understand. She calls to sit there and help with John, and she calls to help with Ava. And long story short, Jason is just like, you need to sit there and just stop talking and don't make anything worse because Christina's already like, I want to sit there and just keep shouting, keep yelling that I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything wrong. Ava's lying, and Jason's like, listen, it's going to handle it itself. John is so obsessed with taking down Sonny that he's going to want to make a mistake, and Sonny's going to capitalize on it. But what he doesn't sit there and say is, if you keep running your goddamn mouth and you try to fix a situation, you're going to make it a lot worse for everyone to sit there and try to protect you and to take down this corrupt POS. So long story short, keep your goddamn mouth shut. Jason didn't say that, but it was all written over his face, and every word that he said, I felt like there was a double meaning to it. And that's just my interpretation. Also, what I didn't understand was there was a point where, after Laura saying that she's going, she's like, can you sit there and watch Ace? And Tracy seems like she's kind of uncomfortable about it, talking about, well, why can't Ace just go with Liz? Like they're like family connected or whatever, so it just would make more sense. And, Laura's like, don't you have like a nanny or whatever to sit there and take care of these children and stuff? And Tracy's like, yeah, well, we got two. So I was like, okay, well, if they got two nannies, like Tracy got uncomfortable as though they were sitting there asking Tracy to sit there and watch Ace. Granted, yes, she agrees to do it, but it's just one of those things where it's like, why was you so hesitant about it in the first place? You're not watching any of these kids, the nannies are. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Anyway, I feel like that's pretty much about it. I can't think of anything else, but as I always sit there and say, either write in the comment section or come to the live stream tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk about all the shows, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Bold and Beautiful, and Young and Restless. With that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you next video.